What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So if you guys didn't see our previous one, FSD 24, we started tearing it down and we did the vote. Well, now we have the official vote results. We're gonna go over those today. We're gonna show you guys the progress we've made on the truck so far, and then we have a couple little bonuses we're gonna show you guys as well. So let's get into it. All right, boys, not too enthusiastic today because I have the stomach flu and I was just thrown up about 30 minutes ago. So anyway, we gotta do this shit. We got shit to do. So FSD 24 is around, it's behind us, and we have a whiteboard here. We're gonna go over the vote results real quick with you guys, and then we're gonna kind of talk about what we have for the truck, what we've already purchased for the truck, and then what we need to get for the truck. But without further ado, we're gonna go over the vote results and pretty much announce what we're gonna be building this truck to. And again, you guys all voted for this. We're building this truck literally exactly to what you guys voted on. So we had a total of just under 4,000 votes, so shout out to all you guys who voted. We appreciate you. So starting off at suspension, this one's easy. Reverse leveled 1. Truck is already reverse leveled, so if you guys don't know what a reverse level is, basically, normally the truck sag forward a little bit like that, and if you did a leveling kit, you'd lift the front about 2.5 inches, and that levels you out. But with a reverse level, what you do essentially is remove leaves or blocks from the rear, and you lower the rear so that it matches the front, the reverse level. So it's not quite, you can call it lowered, but it's not lowered in the front, it's just lowered in the rear. So reverse leveled, that's what won. The truck's already reverse leveled, so that makes it really easy. We don't have to do anything there. Leveled came in second, 4-inch lift came in third. So moving on to wheel style. So what won with 2,376 votes was Forged Wheels Polished. So runner up was Forged Wheels Black, and then Beadlock Wheels Polished Raw. So stance level, 12-inch wide and below won. Second place was 14 wide and above. Third place was 10-inch wide and below. Tire size, what won here? 1,548 votes, 33s. Second place was 35s, and then third place was 33 or below, which I actually realized that when I made this, tire size didn't make any sense because it was 33 and below, or 33, and it's like, they're kind of in the same bucket. It should have been like 32 and below or something like that. But anyway, so moving on to tire style. Glad this one won because it makes the most sense. But we had street tires win. All-terrain tires / off-road tires was second. I think a truck like this, reverse level, fast, stuff like that, I think it definitely fits it to have street tires. So powder coat color, this was a big one here. The winner ended up being cream. So like an off-white cream colored essentially. That's what we're gonna do under the hood here. And then we're gonna probably do some like metallic bronze or brown accents to match the truck to complement the cream. So I think that'll look pretty good. Moving on to interior styling. So this one was actually really close. This was one of the closest votes we had. So what ended up winning for interior styling was black leather and powder coat color diamond stitched interior. So it's basically black leather and then whatever the powder coat color, which is cream, that's what won, is going to be the diamond stitching and the accent color for the interior. So that's what won, that's what it's getting. It's black interior with cream diamond stitching. But what was in second place with like 77 less votes, it was really close, was brown leather with white diamond stitch. So I personally think I would have went brown leather with white diamond stitch. I think when I made that option, that was what I was thinking. Moving on to overall build style. Not a big surprise here. Rowdy Street Truck won with 2,414 votes. Second place, which I would love to build one of these for you guys, something like the F450, I think would be awesome, just saying. Baller Work Truck in second place. And then third place is Clean Reliable Daily Driver, which no one really wants a clean, reliable daily driver, right? Like, so the final option that you guys got the opportunity to vote on is the bonus, and the bonus that won is compound turbos with 2,238 votes. So this thing's getting a fat set of compounds on it, and I already ordered them. We're gonna get into that here a little bit later in the video. And then second place was upgraded sound system. I think Jake put that one in there. I had a good amount of votes. And then third was hood stack, which I'm glad that did not win because hood stacks suck. The truck's super clean, and it will not be super clean if it has a hood stack. So thank you guys for that. So overall, I'm gonna run it back real quick, give you guys a summary. Suspension, reverse leveled, wheel style, Forged Wheels Polished, stance level, 12-inch wide and below, tire size, 33s, tire style, street tires, powder coat color cream, interior styling, black leather with cream diamond stitch, overall build style, Rowdy Street Truck, bonus, compound turbo. That being said, we appreciate you guys voting. This is the first time we've ever done a vote like this and then actually gotten to build the truck to your spec for you guys. So I've never done it before. I think it's gonna be really cool. Without further ado, I'm gonna hit the whiteboard here. I'm gonna start writing down pretty much like a broad list of what we have / already purchased, and then like the main things that we need to do. And then I'm gonna kind of walk you guys around the truck, show you what we've done so far, show you some of the things I'm working on, and then we can go from there. So I almost like went to squiggle on your screen.
Please don't. This isn't an NFL fucking edit.
All right, boys, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and write what we got. Oh, my marker's all fucked up. Fuck this marker. Red it is. Got and don't got. So what we have, truck.
That's a good start.
What are you giggling at, boy? Shut the fuck
Truck.
up, damn it.
We have truck.
Listen, guys, I'm like a crackhead squirrel that... Shut up! I'm like a crackhead squirrel that doesn't do crack, and I'm not actually a squirrel. And I don't actually plan anything. We just do it all the time. So trying to actually plan it on a whiteboard, or like, it's fucking weird to me. So, all right, I'm gonna try to lock the fuck in here. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna write this shit, and Jake's gonna give you a little time lapse because I can't focus and try to entertain you at the same time. We're never gonna get through this. All right, guys, I got that filled out here. Totally does not have everything. I would be here all day and all night trying to add all this stuff together. But I got kind of like the bigger things and what we know we have, what we don't have. Just gonna run through the list real quick and then we're gonna go over the truck. So what we do have, we have the truck, we have the engine. The truck has a good set of S&S 250% overs. The engine was just rebuilt. It does have main studs. The valve train's done, so it's got push rods, valve springs, ARP 625 head studs. So all that stuff's good in the top end. Compounds you guys voted on. I actually just ordered those yesterday. They're already getting shipped out. So we're doing an S467, S493 compound setup. Should be, you know, good for 1100 horse all day. So that'll be good. And then we already have the Steed Speed manifold that's here. We're just gonna have to sandblast it and then have it Cerakoted because it's a bit rusty. So already have a fast fuel system. The exhaust, I can't show you guys it yet. We're gonna show you guys once it's on, but Polar Diesel hooked us up with the absolutely nicest 304 stainless steel exhaust and a badass polished elbow for it. So we'll show you guys that in a later video, but huge shout out to Polar Diesel for hooking us up with the baddest exhaust on the market. So moving back down to control arms and traction bars. That's another shout out right here to our guys over at Fast Fabrication. So if you guys don't know, you got Fast Fuel Systems over here. They make the best lift pumps. They're on all of our trucks. They're absolutely awesome. But they also just launched Fast Fabrication not too long ago. They have some badass traction bars, some badass control arms. And with all that we have going on here, Jake from Fast was like, hey brother, if you want a set, we'll hook it up. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna go Team Fast on this one. We're gonna run their control arms and their traction bars and their Fast system. And then there's also a little kicker. We might throw in a later video with a new product that they just recently released. So, but we're gonna get into all the sponsors later on once we have everything in, because some of the stuff that we are sponsored here, we don't have yet. So in a later video, we're gonna go over all the sponsors and give a huge shout out to them because they're what helps make all this happen. So make sure you guys go and give those guys some support. So moving on to what we don't have, the biggest things that we need. So the biggest thing is a G56. We do not have a G56 for it. We have a good triple disc clutch over there. It has dual CP3s. We ripped those off because they're just junk. I do not like them. They don't tune well. So we're gonna do a 14 mil stroker pump from S&S. So that's gonna be no issue. And then the interior, we are waiting for the interior guy to come up here, check out the seats, and then we're gonna bring them down to him, have him get started on those. We need a carpet for the interior because we ripped the carpet out. That was Jake's fault. So I have to track a carpet down. Once the trans is in and everything, we're gonna need drive shafts made because this truck, when I bought it, had some like literal like MIG welded together drive shafts that were completely not straight and balanced. So we're gonna have East Coast Driveline make us some absolutely badass drive shafts with like 1410 joints. Timing cover and oil pan. King Speed, our guy Chase over there, is gonna be hooking us up with a King Speed billet timing cover and one of their fabricated oil pans. So huge shout out to you, Chase, if you're watching this. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Then moving on to the bottom, valve cover, of course. Logan's gonna get a cover coated. We're gonna ship it out to Chase. If you guys don't know, all of our honeycomb valve covers and a lot of our AN fittings and billet parts are all machined by Chase at King Speed. We work with them very closely. So Logan's gonna get the cover coated here, ship it out to Chase at King Speed. He's gonna machine our honeycomb design into it, and then he ships it back to us, and then we'll get that put on. So we have some extra cool things we're gonna throw into that as well, but I just can't get into it right now. Moving on to a little bit farther down, I just threw this on here, the evaporator core for the AC. I'll get into it here in a little bit. I was making a bezel for it and realized that someone chopped the fucking goddamn ends of the evap core off, so you can't even put your AC lines on. So we got to pull the dash out, do a new evap core. While we're there, we're gonna do a new heater core, and then I'm actually gonna TIG weld 10AN bungs to the heater core, so we can run our AN hoses directly up to it. We don't have to use any silicone or anything like that. And then the last big thing, at least, is wheels and tires, like 22 or 24 by 12s with some street tires. That's our bread and butter, so we'll be able to find a nice set, some KG1s or something like that. So we'll have to figure those out. We'll figure out what exact wheel and tire setup we're gonna get, but we'll show you guys that probably in the next update video. Without further ado, I'm gonna stop talking. We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna show you guys pretty much what we got going on the truck. Haven't made a ton of progress, really just stripping, cleaning things. But I'll show you guys kind of the game plan of what we got going on. Right here, as you see, not too much has changed since the last video. The engine's yanked out, firewall stripped, and we've pretty much been going through doing this insulation on the inside and on the outside here. I am a little bit worried about the heat and this stuff. John, the paint guy, actually messaged me and he was like, hey brother, he's like, be careful with that kill mat stuff. He's like, I had some that got super hot once, and then he's like, it started like sliding down the firewall or something. So we don't want that to happen. So I think that we're gonna try to get some heat shielding and put it over top of this stuff as well, because my goal, if you guys know this, or if you guys know anything about G56s, you know that they're really loud and they have a lot of like gear rollover and chatter. So my goal here is to try to insulate this truck the best as we possibly can, so that when you're inside the interior in your nice diamond stitch seats, that it's like a nice, enjoyable, quiet ride. You can crack the windows and you're gonna hear this fucking 1100 horsepower truck screaming, but on the inside, you're not gonna hear all that gear chatter and rollover, and that's my goal. So the ABS pump's currently sitting here. We have this wiring harness here that goes to the fuse box. We're gonna strip this harness down, relume it. We're gonna put it back here basically, and then I have brackets I'm making to relocate the fuse box, to put it right here, and to relocate this ABS pump, mount it all up there, because we are getting rid of the battery over here. We're putting that down on the frame, so we won't have any batteries in here. It's basically just gonna be an engine, fat set of compounds, your ABS pump here in the corner, your fuse box here in the corner, your intercooler pipes. So it's gonna be really clean, really stripped down. So I started making these with a 3D printer, which I'll show you guys here in a little bit, but I started making these little caps. So like this is one, just replaces the factory, this little factory cap here. It doesn't need to be replaced or anything, but I just wanted to make some cool shit. So, and then I made this here, which I'm not done with yet. I'm gonna refine it a little bit more, but for the AC and for our heater core hoses, I'm printing these little TPU bezels right here that pop in. Basically just a little bezel. It's tapered here. I just designed this and actually pulled it off the printer like 20 minutes ago. Pops back in there and it just seals everything off. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shift this oval hole over a little bit, and then I'm gonna add like a little divider in the middle to try to make it like fit a little bit better. But overall it fits great. So that's pretty much that for the engine bay. I have a lot of designing I still have to do for these brackets, for all that stuff. I gotta finish up all of these. Logan's gonna get the rest of the engine bay cleaned out and the rest of the firewall done. Coming around here, Logan finished up, mostly finished up, I guess you could say, the sound deadening on the inside. So that looks really, really good. Right here is our engine. We got it painted and everything. Actually, that brings me to this piece right here. So got a billet intake plate for it, or intake plenum, but we have these little caps here that we made. You guys see them. Not the first one in the world to make these things. Plenty of people on the internet have made them, but you know, we added our own little touch to them. They're made right here at the shop. Basically, if you're working on your truck, 5.9 or 6.7, pull your intake horn off. So instead of stuffing a rag in there, which does work perfectly fine, we have these nice little plugs that pop in, seal it up good. So if you guys are interested in those, they get you entered to win this truck. They're on the website. They're also made here, again, in the USA. And we have this beautiful polished elbow from Polar Diesel they sent us. And I'll be honest with you, I did an Instagram poll. I personally would have gone 5-inch to 6-inch. I like it, like that truck over there. That's clean. That's Jerry's truck, customer of ours. Y'all voted on a goddamn 8-inch fucking cannon, son? Really? It is nice though, holy shit. Wow.
That is gonna be so obnoxious though.
All right, so there she is. The 304 stainless steel Polar Diesel exhaust. This is not like the shitty aluminized ones. Yeah, man, I personally am not an 8-inch tip kind of guy. Like I'm a little smaller, you know what I mean? But this is what you guys wanted. We're building it for you, not for me, not for Jake, and not for you, Mike, so shut the fuck up.
At least you know the diameter of your head's 8 inches. I mean, that was like a perfect fit.
Dude, what if it gets stuck and I have to go to the ER because I got a Polar Diesel tip stuck in my head?
I would laugh at you and not drive you there. You have to drive yourself looking like that.
All jokes aside, huge shout out to those guys for hooking us up. The exhaust is in the box over there, but we're gonna actually show you guys that. And my hat's all fucked up. We're gonna actually show you guys that once we install it on here so you guys can actually see it. So walking over here, we got one of the harnesses here already loomed up. Basically what we do is we just strip them down, cut all the factory loom off, all the shit, and then usually they're all greasy and shit, so we brake clean them, clean the wires up really good, and then we just do a nice reloom. This isn't like any sort of crazy, you know, Formula 1 wiring harness here, but you know, we go through, we check all the pins, make sure all the wires are good, there's no pinholes or anything. You know, it cleans up the engine bay like a ton when you do this, and it's not, honestly, it's not a ton of work. That's just one of them. We have the main engine harness and a couple other things we got to go through and loom. But last thing before we go up, I'm going to show you guys a couple things on the 3D printers. I know a couple of you guys were asking about that. So before we run up there and show you guys that, I did want to talk about the way we're going to do the catch can hoses and stuff like that. So normally you got your valve cover here with your catch can hoses. We run them off usually pretty high and then mount the catch can, you know, wherever. What we're going to do this time is we're actually going to use bulkhead fittings, and we're going to run the valve cover hoses right off directly up into the wiper cowl here. They're going to go over and across and then down, and we're probably gonna have the catch can over here. So our catch can hoses are actually gonna basically disappear into the firewall or the cab there, which I think will be really nice. I did that on a truck like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was like super nice. I think adding that extra touch to this will be one of the cool things. So without further ado, let's run up here. I'm gonna show you guys some stuff on the 3D printers. I think you guys will like. All right, boys, so I'm gonna show you guys the 3D print farm, but it's a little bit spaced out, and I'm gonna explain why. So basically right here, we have 4 machines printing. They pretty much run 24/7. I have a total of, I think, 8 machines. The issue that I have is there's only so much electric per room, so I have issues tripping breakers. So I can't have all the printers in here until I get a whole bunch more electric run from the main box into here with like a sub panel. So I have 4 here, I have 1 over there in the kitchen, I have 2 over there in another room, and I have another one in my office. But these are the 4 like main producers, and then I'll show you guys the other ones here in a minute. But this one and that one on the end, those 2 are basically printing these single P clamps that we made, which are gonna be available soon. I'll show you guys those quick. 8AN P clamp, basically, I designed these little suckers. It's basically just a P clamp for like 8AN hose, put it on there, and then a zip tie actually goes through and secures everything. So they're kind of like a different style of P-clamp. And then we have basically the same thing, hose separators. So if you got like 2 hoses, same thing as the billet hose separators, except they're not billet, they're plastic, and they just have zip ties that loop through, secure them. Basically it's just an alternative to your regular billet separators, and they're gonna be a lot cheaper, obviously. So we're gonna have those in pretty much all sizes, -4 all the way to -12. And then we will have these separators with mounting as well. As I showed you guys out there, these are the 5.9 Cummins intake plugs. So these are printed out of a flexible TPU material here. Super durable, awesome stuff. Those are there, and then these are the 6.7 ones I'll show you guys. So basically the same thing, just a bit bigger for the 6.7. We have a little tab here, comes out so you can grab it, pull it out. Put a lot of time into designing these and making sure that they actually like did the job they're supposed to, not just a square that sits over the hole, you know what I mean? So I'll go show you guys these 2 other machines. So this one right now is printing the 6.7 plugs out of the TPU. And then this one here is printing the 5.9 plugs out of the TPU. And the cool thing about 3D printing is really cheap. The filament is cheap, but the downside is these take a lot of time. So like these 2 right here take this machine 8 hours of time. That's where like these things don't cost us much, but you have to have a ton of machines to actually be able to produce at, you know, a quantity that can actually make sense for a business. That said, these things just run 24/7. This one and that one, they're just running 24/7. And then I'll show you some of the other ones that are kind of slacking right now. Yeah, this one here, I don't have anything on. I was doing some R&D yesterday, and I have this carbon fiber plate in here, which leaves like a carbon fiber finish on the base. So that's pretty cool. And then I'll show you the other 2 over here. So this is the other unit here, which is also not printing. I actually just pulled that AC bezel cap off that I showed you guys earlier. That just came off this. So this one today I'm pretty much just using for R&D, designing stuff, testing it, test fitting it, making an adjustment, coming back, printing it. So, and then this one here has this on it, and so I can print multiple colors on that one. And then the last one's in there in my office. So anyway, this is the last printer here. This is like my other R&D printer that I just have here. And you know, when I design stuff and want to just test fit it real quick, I'll send it to this, print it, done, go test fit on the truck, make a revision, print it again, and just go on from there. So yeah, with that guys, we're gonna wrap up this bit. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna be giving you guys another update on FSD 24 here in about a week. So thanks for watching, guys.